Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome if you are new. Hope you're having a great day. In today's video, I want to share a review of a new liquid foundation that I was recently testing out. The foundation that we are discussing today is the Jouer Essential High Coverage Crème Foundation. Now I have this in this teeny tiny little sample size that I actually received with my order when I ordered the foundation through their website. Jouer used to be sold in, I think they were in Sephora. I don't think they were ever in Ulta, but anyway, they used to be sold in store at Sephora and they are not any longer. You can still find the Jouer products on Amazon as well as directly through their website. So I ordered the foundation directly from their website. I actually ended up on their website because I kept seeing ads for this particular setting powder. This is their Soft Focus Hydrate and Set Powder, and I just was really impressed with the ads that I was seeing for this. So I initially just popped onto the website to look at this product. And then I was like, oh, well, now that I can wear liquid foundation, why don't I try their foundation as well? They did have a money back guarantee, so I figured if it doesn't work out, I'll just send it back. And send it back I did, because turns out this is not the foundation for me, you guys. I still think this is a good foundation. I just think it is not the foundation for me. So that's why I still want to review it for you guys. I don't want to completely blast this foundation because it is touted as a high coverage foundation. I just think that I am not a high coverage loving girl. I think that that is what I discovered when I was testing this foundation out. So I thought it would still be worth going through and telling you guys about my experience with this particular product, because it might actually work out incredibly well for you if you are looking for very, very high coverage. That just was not exactly what I was looking for. I thought I wanted a lot more coverage, but once I actually got it on my skin, I was like, no, this is not for me. Anyway, if you're interested in this powder at all, this review is not about this powder, but I love this. And in fact, when I sent the foundation back, I had the choice of either getting a refund or just having something else sent my way. I decided to go ahead and just order another one of these powders because I really did fall in love with this particular product. So anyway, it was very easy to do the exchange. As soon as I sent the foundation back in the mail, they sent out the replacement powder like that. So anyway, this is great, but we are gonna get into this bad boy now. If you're interested in picking this up, I'll have it linked in the description box. So if you are looking for a super high coverage foundation, this might be your girl here. So let's get into it. Before we get into my experience with this particular foundation, I wanna give you a little bit more information about the formulation as well as some of the key ingredients here, because that is really kind of what drew me in initially to wanting to try this formula. Is there are some pretty good skincare ingredients in here. So anyway, let's get into some of this initial information here. So if you're interested in purchasing this particular foundation, the full size is 0.68 fluid ounces, and that retails for $38. If you just want to try a deluxe mini, that retails for $14. So if you don't want to commit to the larger size to begin with, I like that they do have the option to order the smaller size. Now, when I placed my order, I just ordered the large size just in case I did like it. But turns out I didn't. Honestly, I'm really grateful they sent this sample because, like I said, I was able to send back the full-size foundation without ever even having opened that. So the benefits of this particular foundation are that it is high coverage, it is hydrating, it is lightweight, and it has a soft matte finish. It is supposed to smooth fine lines and never look cakey or creased. So yeah. They say here that that you can show the world a fresh face with gorgeous coverage in a lightweight formula that is packed with beneficial ingredients. So these key ingredients are allantoin. This is going to help to soften your skin and promote healthy looking skin. You have chamomile extract in here, which is going to calm redness while moisturizing and inhibiting the growth of bacteria. You have cucumber extract in here, which forms a barrier to prevent dryness. You also have hyaluronic acid, which supports the skin's natural moisture retention, and you also have a tripeptide complex in here, which is going to help support natural collagen production for smoother, more youthful looking skin. So my expectations were that this was definitely going to be a heavier formulation, that it was going to provide a lot of coverage, and the big thing for me was that it was still supposed to be very lightweight. So now let me tell you what my experience was. First of all, I am not wearing the foundation today. I really don't like the way that this one feels on my skin, so I am back to my Laura Geller Balance and Brighten, which is the powder foundation that I use most days of my life. But yeah, I couldn't even bring myself to put this on this morning to film the video because it just looked very heavy on my skin. Now, I tried a couple different ways to make this foundation work. It really does have a thick cream-like texture. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get some out here so that you can see what type of coverage this has. But yeah, it is a very thick formulation. The shade that I landed on was Porcelain, and I think that Porcelain was just maybe a shade too light for me, but I was able to make it work in terms of coloring. My problem really wasn't with the shade Porcelain. It was more so with how the foundation felt on my skin and how it looked over my pores. We're gonna get into that here in a second, but let me show you how just this is a very small amount of foundation here, but this definitely covers. The overall texture is, you can tell by the way that this coats my fingertips just how thick this coverage is. So this just absolutely will it will cover anything. I'm talking anything that you need to cover. If you deal with breakouts, I'm pretty sure you are going to get the type of coverage here that is going to really cover those breakouts well. I mean, it completely blanks my hand out. So here is the hand without the foundation. This hand here, like you cannot see any of the veins on the top of my hand here. And the Porcelain really is a good fit. I think that at this point in the year, I have a little bit of color on my chest, so it seemed maybe a smidge too light, but I can guarantee you within the next couple of months here, I think the Porcelain would have probably been actually quite a good color fit for me, but it's just a teensy bit too light now. But here's what I found with this foundation. First of all, I applied it with a brush. I applied it with my fingers, and I also utilized a blender, like a beauty blender type sponge. And no matter how I applied the product to my skin, the amount of coverage that it gave was just too much. I feel like it looked very heavy on my skin, and it really did accentuate the look of my pores. I was kind of hoping that this particular foundation would do a really good job of helping to disguise my melasma when it flares up. That's why I wanted to give the full coverage a try, but I just didn't like the way it felt on my skin. I also felt like it accentuated that kind of orange peel like texture that I still have on my cheeks. I've worked really hard to reduce the overall look of my pores over the years with a solid skincare routine, but I still have texture, and so anytime a foundation really accentuates my pores, especially on my cheeks, it's a hard pass for me. So this just kind of seemed to like sink into the pores. I will say I don't think the foundation got super creasy on me. My skin type is now more combination rather than oily, but in looking through some of these reviews on their website, I really feel like this is a great foundation for people with oily skin. If you look at the reviews, you'll see that it tends to stay put pretty well for pretty much most skin types. But I think if you are extremely dry, you are probably not going to appreciate how this cream or creme formulation is probably going to potentially catch on any dry patches that you might be dealing with. I feel like it might be kind of rough for that. I did not have any while I was testing this out, but I just think based on how this reacted with my pores that it would probably also catch on any other texture on the skin and probably kind of accentuate that. If your skin's fairly smooth and you're just looking to cover some redness or perhaps some melasma like I have on my forehead here, I think it would probably work quite well for that. So if that's the case for you and you are looking for heavy, high coverage, this is going to give you that. I think that the most coverage that I got was probably when I used my fingers, followed by then using a makeup brush. And then I got a like more medium type coverage when I used a sponge. But even with the sponge, it still felt a little too heavy on my skin. That was really my main problem, is that it accentuated my pores and it did feel a lot heavier on the skin than what I'm used to. So for that reason, this did not work out for me. I don't want to bash this foundation because I do think that there are a group of people that are going to probably do quite well with this particular foundation, but I just don't think it was a good pick for me. So my bad, it's fine, it worked out. I was able to send it back. I was able to get another backup of the Jouer product that I actually really loved, which is this particular setting powder. I did use the powder with the foundation. They do pair quite well together. Anyway, I'm gonna insert a picture here really quickly of what the foundation looked like on my skin, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. So here's a look at what it looked like on my skin in daylight. So in conclusion, I just don't think that this is the right foundation for me personally. I do not think it's a bad product. In fact, I would say if you are looking for very, very full coverage, you cannot go wrong with this particular foundation. It is going to give you the fullest of the full coverage. I did not mention this earlier, but I would say that I got about 8 or 9 hours of wear out of the foundation before I started to notice it breaking down just a little bit around the corners of my nose here and a little bit around my eyes as well. But I feel like that is a pretty acceptable wear time for a liquid foundation, at least based on my experience in the past. If I can get a solid work day out of a liquid foundation, that's incredible. So I'll take it. So I think it had a good wear time. It just felt so much heavier than what I am normally used to. And I think what this little experiment taught me here is that I am a light to medium coverage foundation girly. I just don't like the look of a full coverage foundation on my skin. I also don't like the way that it feels. It does feel heavier than my usual powder foundation, but I feel like that is going to be a given when you are moving from a powder product to a liquid or cream product. So that is what it is. But I think I just prefer a little lighter coverage. If I don't get complete coverage of my melasma, I'm actually okay with that. I don't care if people see that I have it. It's just a part of my skin. I mean, I use skincare to try to manage it, but sometimes it flares up and it is what it is. But moral of the story is that while this foundation wasn't a good fit for me, if you are someone who does require a lot of coverage from a foundation and you like that thicker cream texture, you might want to give this one a try. Like I said, they have samples available on their website. They also have a shade finder feature on their website that you can use where you put in the foundation and shade that you are currently wearing, and then it spits out what equivalent you are in the Jouer shade range for this particular foundation. So that's kind of a nice thing. So you can find that on their website, and hopefully that helps you find the shade that is the best fit for you. But for me, I'm glad I sent it back. I'm glad that I just ended up grabbing another one of these because this really is a fantastic powder. So yeah, I'll probably end up repurchasing this again in the future, and I'm just going to enjoy this particular product. And then I don't know, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this sample. Maybe my daughter wants to try it. She has a really fair skin like I do, so I actually think the shade Porcelain might be a good fit for her. So we'll see if Stella wants to give this the old college try. But for me, it's just a little bit too high coverage. So anyway, I hope that this was helpful. Let me know what your favorite light to medium liquid foundation is. Better yet, if it has some good like skincare ingredients like the Jouer had, that's a huge bonus for me. So leave me your suggestions for some lighter weight liquid foundations in the comments down below. Again, if you're interested in picking this one up, I'll have it linked in the description box. I appreciate you guys being here. Let me know if you have any questions at all, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.